Okay, so this is chapter 9. Okay, so our for layout strategy. So where do you see the location? Okay, so location strategy is where the facility location, okay, the physical location. So layout is the inside the company, okay, right? So this is outline for this chapter. The example that this textbook used for okay. So example that used to explain about the layout, the best example is McDonald's. Okay, globally McDonald's that the simplest way to explain about the layout decision, right? Okay, so next we will explain about the importance of layout decision and the types of layout decision. We have office layout, retail layout, warehousing layout, fixed position layout, process-oriented layout, work cells layout, and repetitive product-oriented layout. So this is all the type for layout. Okay, we will go very briefly, and then we will explain a little bit more details about each of layout. Okay, so this is the outline for this chapter. Okay, so example in McDonald's. Okay, so McDonald's punya innovation. Okay, from 1950s, okay, they start introduce the indoor setting, and then from 1970s, drive-through window. Okay, 1980s, they're adding the breakfast to the menu. Okay, so previously breakfast not included, so starting from 1980s, they introduced the breakfast menu. And then late 1980s, they add the play areas in the McDonald's restaurant. And then they redesigned the kitchens in 1990s. They add a self-service kiosk in 2004, but I think in Malaysia, just recently they add a self-service kiosk. So now they have a 3 separate dining section. Okay, so that is the innovation in McDonald's. Okay, so we have 4 innovation in McDonald's. So 6 out of that 7 this is 7 innovation. Out of 7, 6 of these are layout decision. Okay, indoor setting, drive-through, and then adding the play areas, redesign the kitchens, adding the self-service kiosk, and then they have a 3 separate dining section. This is all about the layout decision. Okay, so this is a recently they have a 3 separate dining areas. Okay, linger zone. Okay, so for those who like to have a social, they have a Wi-Fi, they have a comfortable chairs that students want to study. Okay, so that is what called the linger zone. And then we have a grab and go zone. Okay, with a tall counters instead for those who come like the Grab McDonald and eat and then they go. Okay, and then they have a families area. Okay, so example, so this is a self-service kiosk. Okay, that recently, I think 2 or 3 years ago, they started in the restaurant McDonald's in Malaysia. Okay, so this is a grab and go area. Okay, right? So for those who like, they will grab and then they go just to eat. Okay, this is an area for the linger zone. Okay, for those who like to social with friends, to study, to use the Wi-Fi. Okay, and so they have a more space area for the family area. Okay, so layout area for different purposes. Okay, so this is in the restaurant lah, restaurant that we usually go like McDonald's. Okay, everybody has the McDonald's, right? Okay, so this is in kitchen area. So kitchen, they improve the kitchen area so that they need less workers in the kitchen area. Okay, more use on technology, so less workers, right? Okay, so at the end of this chapter, at least you get these 8 objectives. Okay, alright. So first, we can discuss what is the important issues in the office layout. Okay, and then the objectives of the first kali office layout, and then you can define the objective for retail layout. Okay, And then I will explain, and you can able to discuss about the warehouse, modern warehouse arrangement. So they use all the technologies in the modern warehouse. Okay, so then you can identify the fixed position layout. So this is a layout. Okay. Right, so next you can explain how to achieve a good process-oriented facility layout. Okay. Define work and sell the requirement of work cell layout. Okay. And you're able to define the product-oriented layout. And lastly, you can explain how to balance between production flow and repetitive or product-oriented facility. So this is all the X layout. Okay, so at least you understand why is that the organization have to use the certain layout, and you're able to discuss, explain the objective, and recognize what type of layout. Okay. Okay, so the strategy for layout decision, okay, is to develop an effective and efficient layout that will meet the firm's competitive requirement. When you design the layout, okay, when you want to make a decision about the layout, it's not only that you just want your customer to comfortable. At the end of the day, you want to win or you want to get the competitive advantage. Okay, McDonald's would like to compete with the KFC, Pizza Hut. So based on the layout, you want to provide a comfortable area for and fulfill the certain specific customer requirement, okay, in the restaurant. Okay, we as a customer, we might not recognize that we need this kind of area, but they identify that for the family, they need to give a spacious area. Okay, for the students, they need to give them some things that more like the social, the Wi-Fi area. Okay, for workers or for the busy person, they just provide a bar and stool area. Okay, so they get the competitive through that layout. Okay. Okay, so when you decide for layout, okay, right? So at least when you decide the layout, then you must consider how to achieve this. Okay, these 5 elements. Okay, so first thing, when you do a decision for layout, you want to utilize all the space, equipment, and the people that are available in the organization. Okay, so layout have to make sure that you able to utilize all the space, equipment, and the people. Okay, and then okay, you would like to improve the flow of information, material, or people. Okay, you have to make sure when they want to pass the information, materials, or people have to go from one department, so you can improve that flow. Okay. Also that when you decide the layout, okay, you also need to consider how to improve the employee morale and to provide the safer working condition for the for your employees. Okay, this is especially for manufacturing. Okay, in manufacturing, they have to provide the safe working condition. Okay, and can improve the employee morale. Okay. And also that you would like, when you decide about the layout, okay, you would like to improve the customer and client interaction, okay, especially for the services, okay, and it's flexible, okay. It's when you want to need to change, then it's quite flexible, easy for you to change, okay. So when you design the layout for today, you have to think about the future. When you want to change for to fulfill the future needs, okay. Okay, so this is a type of layout. Yeah, for office layout, retail layout, warehouse layout, fixed position layout, process oriented layout, work cell layouts, and product oriented layout. Okay. So first layout, office layout. Okay. So this is an office layout. Okay, example lah. Okay, there are a lot of type of office layout. So the objective for office layout, okay, when they design the office layout, they have to think about the position of their workers, and then the equipments, okay, and spaces for the offices to provide the movement of information and also the movement of the workers. Okay. Also, they have to think about their workers' privacy. Okay, did the workers need the privacy or not? Maybe they have to put some partition, or don't need to put the partition. Okay, so that is office. Okay, so they have to, when for an office layout, it's more about how to position your workers and equipments. Okay, that's the main thing, right? And then the extra is that the movement of the materials, information, other than that. Okay, right? So that is first type of layout. Next, retail layout. Okay, so retailer. So retail, they would like to allocate or display the space or their products, and they would like to respond based on what their customer behavior. Okay, so different retail maybe need a different layout. Okay, so like this, they would like to expose as much as they can the product for the customer. Okay, some retail layout, example in convenience store. Okay, they cannot put something like this. Okay, so the allocation in the retail layout based on the customer behavior. Okay, so when you go to the, let's say in Malaysia we have a Speed Mart. When you go to the Speed Mart, you don't expect the layout like this. Okay, we have a rack there. Okay, we have to go one by one. When you go to the supermarket, more supermarket, they're different. Okay, different expectation. Okay, so different layout for the customer. Okay, when you go to the shoe store, then different. You go to the boutique, close boutique, then a different layout. Okay, so they based on what is the customer behavior. Okay, or they want either they want to expose as much as they can when customer enter their store, or they need the customer to go around and look for the products. Okay, it depends to the what the customer needs. Okay. So the next is warehouse layout. Okay, warehouse to keep all the materials there. So the objective to address the trade-off between the space and material handling. Okay, they need to utilize their space and also how they want to handle the materials, because a warehouse is really big, spacious, and so many materials, so many different things. So how do you want to handle that? Okay, so we will go into details later, but this is just go very briefly first. Okay. Next is a fixed position layout. Okay, so this is an example of fixed position layout. Okay, so usually for bulky projects, okay, when you want to build ships or want to build a building, so the product is large, big, okay, bulky. Okay, so then you have to use the fixed position layout. You cannot move the product. Okay, all the materials, supplier, everything have to go to the product. Okay, right. So that is a fixed position layout. Okay, so next, process oriented layout. Okay, so you design based on process. Okay, you group a certain process in certain area. Okay, so this is one process you put in one area, different process in different area. Okay, all right. So usually process oriented layout is suitable in manufacturing with a low volume, okay, and high variety for production. Okay, process layout, this layout decision highly related to design process design, okay, or process decision making. Okay, and also it's related to product design. Okay, so when you want to design your product, you have to decide also about the process and also the layout for the process. Okay, so these three decisions is actually you have to do it together. Okay, you cannot do it separately. Alright, so for job shop or intermittent production, it's suitable to use this kind of layout. Okay, so next, work cell layout. Okay, this is in manufacturing. Okay, so they arrange a machine, a few machines, similar for the similar process. Okay, machine and equipment. Okay, so that to produce a related groups, some process. To produce not only one product, maybe a related product. Okay, a few but a similar product. Okay, a similar process to produce a similar product. Okay, right, so they group together. So that is a cell layout based on certain product or based on certain machine. Okay. Okay, so product layouts. Okay, to utilize the machine. Okay, so usually it's suitable for repetitive or continuous production. You arrange the workers or you arrange the equipment, machines, or the equipment and machines you arrange based on the process to produce that product. Okay, like in the auto manufacturer, okay, they have to arrange all the machines and based on how to produce the car. Okay, right, so step by step. So the arrangement is what we call a product oriented layout. Okay, process. Sorry, before that, next. Which one is the process? Okay, so process oriented layout also not only used in the manufacturing. Okay, so process oriented layout also can be used in supermarket. Okay, they arrange based on the process. Example, okay, when you go to the supermarket, okay, the area on mall or it's not mall lah, supermarket. Okay, when you go to Tesco, right? So let's say Tesco. The arrangement in Tesco, they use a process oriented layout. Why is it? The similar product they put in the same area. Okay, like clothes and all that, they put a certain area. Dry food a certain area, wet food a certain area, electronic in a certain area. Okay, the group based on that's also called a process layout. Okay, the group based on the similar needs on the based on the customer requirement. Okay, not only process is not only can be used in the manufacturing, so can be used in the services or in the retail. Okay, all right. Okay, so this is example company, but this is a US company, so it's not related to Indonesia. Alright, so a good layouts, okay, so when you want to design a good layouts, okay, so the organization or manager have to consider these 5, okay, their requirement. Okay, so first thing, the material handling equipment. Okay, so when you want to decide, managers must decide about the equipment that they need to be used, okay, including if they need the conveyors or cranes or automated storage, retrieval. So how they want to handle the equipment when they decide for the layout, so they have to consider this. Okay, material handling equipment. Okay, do they need to use the conveyors or not? Okay, do they need the cranes? Okay, so this is one of consideration they have to consider. Okay, and then the capacity and the space requirement. Okay, right, so it's either they need to provide the space, okay, for the employees, or they need to provide the space to handle the components, okay, right? So the capacity of personnel, okay, how many personnel they need, the machines and equipments. Also, they have to consider this when they decide for their design layout, okay, right? Let's say, okay, they want to design the office area, okay, so the managers, they have to make a judgment the space that the employees will need, okay, right? And let's if in the factory setting, okay, managers have to consider, okay, we have to consider about the safety, the noise, okay, the temperature, the space to handle the equipment and machine, okay. So this is the capacity, how many equipment machines they need to think about that, right? And also for good layouts, okay, they have to think about the environment and aesthetic, okay. Where they want to put the windows, they need to put the plan. If they have to provide the partitions, how about height of that each partitions, okay, airflow, okay, how do you like to to reduce the noise, okay, either they need to provide the privacy or not. So that is the environment and aesthetic, okay. And also that in organization, the communication is we call it as quite important, okay, and it should be facilitated by the layout design, okay, communication, right? So you have to think about whether there is a proximity or not, okay. The employees need an open space, or they need when they need communication, they need open space or they need a partitions, okay. So if how they want to about the flow of the information, flow of the materials, okay. And the last one, okay, for the good to design the good layouts, okay, managers have to consider the movement, cost of movement, okay, between the various areas, okay. Either especially the movement for materials, okay. The movement for information might not costly, okay, right? The movement of document also might not costly to the company, okay. But the movement, especially a big bulky materials, okay, the movement of these bulky materials, that it will cost to the organization, okay. Especially if you need extra handling equipment, okay, then involve a very high cost. So the movement between the various area also have to give a very important consideration to design a very good layout. Okay. What time is it? Okay, so first layout, office layout. Okay, so in office layout, okay, so first the managers requires to group the workers, the equipment and the space so that they can provide the comfort and safety and movement of the machine for the employees. Yeah, and the main thing or the main distinction of this layout is the importance of information flow. Okay, so it's not only to the movement flow of the material whatever, but in the office, movement of information, okay, compared to others layout lah, okay. Alright, and also now so because we have there's a changes in technological, okay, we can pass the information through using the internet, through the social network or whatever, then it might be a different needs to design the layout in office. But even though that the movement of information is more using the technology or electronic, okay, so still when you design the office layout, you have to consider or require a task-based approach too. Okay, right? So this is task-based approach of when you want to design the office layout. So we will see the importance or the necessary necessary interaction between the department. Okay, so A means that is really that absolutely necessary. Okay, means that the interaction between these the two department is really important. Okay, really important. A. Okay, so is the next that especially important. So, okay, okay. Right, so I is quite important, O okay, so U unimportant, and X is not desired. It means that this department is no need to interact, doesn't have any interaction between these two. Okay, alright, so now we identify, so you can see accounting, okay, absolutely necessary is between accounting, sorry, okay, so accounting and operation, okay, A here, see accounting and operation, okay. And also that marketing also absolutely necessary. Okay, it's really important between marketing and operation. Okay, so means that operation have frequent interaction between marketing and accounting. Okay, so means that when you want to design the layout, the operation department have to you have to locate near to the marketing and accounting department. Okay. So that when they have to discuss or they have to pass something, so they nearby only, right? Okay, so X, there's no X here. U, you see, okay, so accounting and the lounge area. Oh, okay, so accountant don't like to go to the lounge area. Okay, so then you don't have to put a accounting near to the lounge area. Okay, right, so graphic arts, you need to near to the information technology. Okay, so this is how you want to design, consider the method to consider for office layout. Okay, see the importance of interaction between two department, right? Okay, so so when you design the workspace or office layout, okay, so you have to balance, okay, this three as physical and a social aspect. Okay, so first is the proximity. Okay, means that when you provide the space, so space should naturally bring the people together. Okay, so there's a space when you want to provide the space. So space, it should naturally bring the people together from proximity. Okay, so privacy means that the people must be able to control access to their conversation, because sometimes they need a privacy. They don't want to have any conversation with others. Okay, I'm busy, so I don't want to communicate with others, so they need the privacy. Okay, and also the permission. The last thing is permission. Culture. The culture should signal that non-work interaction are encouraged. Okay, means that we don't have to think that you can communicate for non-work interaction. Okay, there's allowed to non-work interaction. Managers don't have to inform that, but based on layout, the employees realize that there is a permission for non-work interaction between the employees. Okay, but sometimes based on the layout also, the employees can identify that, okay, so in this organization there are no non-work interaction. When you want to interact with others employees, is only based on work matters. Okay, but some design they can see, we realize that, okay, so this is allowed non-word interaction. It's not verbally said, but based on the layout design. So that's why design is very important. Okay. And also that the trends, okay, major trends in the office layout. Okay, now you can see that technology. Okay, now people use the smartphone, they have the scanners. Okay, so that technologies punya trend. Okay, and also that because of we have that IT. Okay, so employees are able to work from the outside the organization. Okay. And okay, so modern firms, okay, now certain modern organization, they have a dynamic needs for space and services. Okay, this dynamic space services means that the employees table or working area is not fixed. Okay, so it's a dynamic. Okay, example, these two company. Okay, two company. The first company, Deloitte and Touch. Okay, they identify or they found out that 30% to 40% of desks were empty at any given time. Okay, at any given time, they found out that 30% to 40% desks were empty. Okay, so then they changed the layout. The firm developed its hoteling programs. Okay, at first, every employees have their space area, workspace area. Okay, so after that, their own desk. Okay, so they found out that 30% to 40% empty at any given time. Okay, so they changed to the hoteling programs. Okay, so their workers lost their permanent office. They don't have any their permanent desk. Okay, so for those who like to be in the building, okay, because this company is a consultant, so their employees is keep going out to see their customer, so that's why their desk is empty. Okay, right. So this consultant, after they change with the hoteling program, so consultant lost their desk, okay, permanent desk. Okay, and they change means that for those who plan to be in the building, okay, they have to book that office. Okay, and they will hang the consultant name at the door. Okay, so that consultant or the employees can use that area for the day. So if you want to use the next day, you have to book for the next day. Okay, so every day, if you want to work in that building, in your company building physically, so you have to book your area. Okay, so that's the company in Deloitte and Touch. Okay, right. So another company, Cisco System. Okay, they cut the rent and workplace service by 37%. Okay, so they reconfigure the space. They create the movable, means that everything in the office is on wheels. Okay, and they get away from innovation. Okay, so that they can cut the cost and increase the profit. So this is all the companies that usually they identify their workers is not always in their work area, so they can. But if like accountant, they always do their jobs on their own space, so you cannot do some. They must have their permanent working space, okay, or working desk, right? So it depends to what type of task, okay, that to implement it, right? Okay. Next is retail layout. Okay. So retail layout, when you like to design the retail layout, okay, usually to maximize the profit. So you want to fully utilize the square foot of floor space. Okay. right? So they would like to increase their sales and profit, okay? So that for based on the customer exposure. Okay, so this is ideas for supermarkets area or retail, okay, retail layout. Okay, first thing, they locate high draw items around the periphery of the store. Okay, alright. So let's say it depends to the company. Okay, let's say in that society or in that community, in Malaysia apa? Okay, let's say that because example US kan. So let's say American, the high volume, high sales volume in retail is that the dairy products and bread. Okay, American like to buy a dairy milk lah. Okay, dairy products and any type of milk. Okay, dairy products and bread. Okay, so that's the supermarket. They design the supermarket. They put the dairy products okay, they put the dairy products near to the bread. Okay. Sorry. Dairy products because the high volume is dairy product and bread also they high volume. Okay. So they put the other side. Okay. So the other side is dairy and the bakery or bread area is the other side. Okay. Right, so that they can expose others products to the customer, right? Okay. The next, use prominent location for high impulse and high margin items. Okay, right. So Best Buy, okay, means that high margin products. Okay, you put at the front or the center. Okay. That is, when you go to the Tesco, okay, you can see that they put their electronic products, the cameras, all the electronics, they put at the front area or near to the entrance, isn't it? Okay, if you realize that. Okay, so because there is a high profit or high margin products, okay, the volume is low. Okay, television, cameras, the volume is low. In the volume for sales is low in the Tesco. If you go to the Aeon Big in Alamanda, so you have that they put it near the entrance. The volume is low, but the marginal profit is quite high compared to others. Okay, compared to the dry products, the foods product, the profit, the marginal, okay, profit marginal is quite low compared to this product, okay, digital product. Okay, if you buy one television, the customer buy one television, you might get profit, let's say 500, okay, per unit. But if customer buy a bread, okay, you might get a profit 50 cents per unit. Okay, so the different marginal. So that's the that is a they put as they put in a prominent location, okay, at the near the entrance, okay, expose as much as they can, okay, right. So I go back to the high draw items, okay. I give the example, another example. Okay, so in Malaysia, example, okay. Each retailer, they have to identify what is high items, high draw items, okay. Right, so let's say in a Kedai Mesra, if you go to the Kedai Mesra or 7-Eleven, okay, 7-Eleven, Kedai Mesra, okay, usually they identify, they based on the research, okay, or based on the sales, okay, they identify that the high draw items in this type of retail is drinks. Okay, drinks product, any type of drinks. Okay, that's why if you go to the 7-Eleven, you can see that they put this item at the end of the punya store, so that the customer who like to buy a drinks, they have to go through all their products to get that drinks. So they will expose as much as other product to the customer before they buy the drinks. Okay, same as the Petronas, kedai mesra. Okay, mesra shop tu, right? So based on the sales, they said that drinks is the high draw items. Okay, so that's why they put their drinks at the other side of the entrance, not the entrance. Okay, not at the entrance, the drinks. Okay, usually so the customer will go through the other products to buy the drinks, and then they will see all the crepes, chocolate, bread, and other product. Okay, so they expose them. Okay, so that is the strategy. Okay, but other convenience store, the traditional convenience store like a mini market, okay, traditional old mini market, and okay, so mini market, the high draw items is not drinks or not junk food. Okay, the high draw item is more to flour, sugar, other product. Okay, so that's why in mini market we can see the drinks is they put at the entrance. Okay, because people go to the mini market to buy other items, not drinks. Okay, but after they buy, they can see the drinks, so they will take some drinks there. Okay, okay, so you have to make sure. Okay, when we go to the Tesco, high volume high draw items in Tesco, in Giants is wet apa panggil wet area pula apa, like a fish, chicken, meat semua tu, that is a high draw items. Okay, that's why when you go to in Malaysia, chicken area, fish area, that's our area, wet area tu they put at the end of it, because people go to that Tesco to buy that, and they can see others product. Okay, so expose others, right? So that's the strategy lah. Okay, and also the same as that power items. Okay, same so put the power items ni at the different they identify the power items. Okay, so they identify this power items at separate punya okay, separate rack ke, okay, different way ni, so they can increase viewing of other items. Okay, so put at a different place. So usually a retailer they can identify this what is dia punya power item, same as a high draw item. Okay, alright. So and number 4, use an aisle location. Okay, this is example, use an aisle location. Because aisle location and aisle location is they have a very high exposure rate. Okay, this is example. Okay, you can see now it's quite I think I'm sure that you are familiar with this high end aisle location. Okay, so at the end of the rack here. Okay, so they will the exposure rate is very high. Okay, you expose here. The actual this is not permanently. Okay, so permanently is a different in the original rack, but we put some product here, especially a promotional products or some low punya demands products, so they will put here to expose to the customer. Okay, alright. So and the last, okay, is to convey the mission of the store by carefully selecting the position of the lead of department. Okay, so they have to make sure that what is the mission for that store. Okay, alright. So like if you if that store, okay, they would like to increase more on the prepared foods. Okay, prepared food. So they usually maybe they can position the bakery or deli to the front. Okay, to appeal. So if you like to prepare food, you like to sell bread and coffee to the customer in that store. So you might put these things at the front. Okay, so this is can appeal to the customer, right? If you like to increase the sales of, let's say, if Tesco would like to increase the sales for their clothes, so they have to put that clothes too at the front. Okay, so what mission, based on mission. Okay, so let's say this month we would like to increase the sales for our clothes. Okay, so then they have to put clothes at the front area. Okay, so they have to identify the mission. Okay, okay, and they put the position that they can appeal to the customer. Okay, so if you would like to sell that bread or coffee, then you have to put at front. If you put at the end or at the back, maybe customer might not realize that you are selling bread and coffee. Okay, right? Okay, so lagi, sorry. So these examples, call it out already, I explain, I'll put everything semua. Okay, and also that sometimes, okay, this is quite previously quite popular method is slotting. Okay, slotting means that the manufacturer, they have to pay some fees, okay, to get the retailers to display their product at the certain areas, to highly area that to put their product at the highly exposure area. Okay, so they pay some fees, that is called slotting fees. They have to pay for certain slot to display. Okay, right? So that this is let's say example, let's say the main area. Okay, main area. So maybe this manufacturer pay the retailer, they pay extra fees, okay, to make sure that every day their product have to put there, okay, at the front area. Okay, right? So maybe this is the advantage for that manufacturer, especially a big manufacturer. Example, Dutch Lady, previously you can see that Pampers, what else? They can choose which area they would like to retailer to display their product. Okay, of course they will choose the area or the slot that highly exposed to the customer. Okay, all right. So why is it the slotting fees is happen? It's because retailer have very limited shelf space. Okay, so that's why they have to slot, to pay some slot to display the product. Okay, but this is not good if for the new products, okay, and the small companies, right? So usually the big manufacturer able to pay this slot. Okay, it's quite very expensive pay. Okay, it's thousands in yearly they have to pay. So small company, it's difficult to compete with this. Okay, if small company introduce a new product, so their product cannot put at the front, okay, because they don't have money to pay for that slot. Okay, okay, so there's some and then also that this slotting, okay, now slotting can help monitor sales. Okay, so and also that the retailer can control more about the inventory. Okay, they can monitor the inventory and know about more about the sales for that product. Okay, right? So there's an advantage and disadvantage. Advantage more to the big manufacturer, but others have problem to compete with others. Okay, if you a new business, small business, you would like to introduce a new product, so your product will not display at the front, at the end, so customer might not realize about your product. Okay. Okay, so in the retail also they have to think about the service scape. Okay, service scape is describe the description of the physical surrounding. Okay, when the in which service is delivered. Okay, and how the surrounding have the human punya effect. Okay, for the customer and employees. Okay, right. So in the service scape, right, there are the three elements. First is ambient conditions. Okay, ambient conditions is about the background characteristic, lighting, sound, smell, and temperature. Okay, is some retailer they have this ambient condition, and the ambient condition is quite important, especially in the restaurant. Okay, when you go to the certain restaurant, this is they like to give something more extra. It's not about their foods. Okay, so this is about the condition. Okay, the ambient condition. You go to the when you go to the Hard Rock store, it's not cafe, store. Now they have a retail store. Okay, so they have music there. The background they have the display to area there. Okay, kan? You feel something different. Okay, when you go to TGI Friday, they sell same things, other Western food, same. I mean, quite similar to others restaurant. But when you enter that restaurant, you feel something different because of the conditions, ambient condition. Okay, and then the second element is the spatial layout and functional. Okay, so they have the layout too, they have functional. So maybe you can have a two-way direction. So the layout too, there are function. So this is to go to the toilet, so they have function for that. And the aisle too, they provide a certain characteristic. Okay, right? So it's not only one way. So people, only 3 people can go through the area. So a certain retail need that. Maybe but like convenience store, maybe you don't need to provide a special layout. Okay, right? And then at a certain you can provide a signs or symbol or artifacts. Okay, like when you go to the Hard Rock, then you can see they have put some artifacts. They have music. They put some things. Okay, but certain retail layout needs that, but not all the retail layouts needs the signs or symbol or artifact. Okay, when you go to the 7-Eleven, that is not important thing. But when you go to certain shop, special to show dia punya specialized tu, then you need this service scape. Okay. Alright. Okay. Oh, tepat lah pukul 3. Exactly. So anything? Any question? Anything that you want to ask me? Oh, okay. Bukan special layout. Okay, special layout for this one. I share the screen. Special layout tu ni this area certain retail. Certain retail tu they need to give some circulation. People need to go freely go to the other side, this side, but not all the layouts, not all the retail needs that. Okay, So, like example this area, nampak? The customer can go around there, so they need to go one by one. They compare to if you go to the 7-Eleven, the layout is different. But this kind of, let's say, have you been to Legoland, Lego punya apa souvenir shop tu, or if you went to have you went to Hard Rock punya retail, apa lagi ya? What else? Usually ni lah specialized retail store. Okay, if you went to kalau Disneyland punya Disneyland punya souvenir shop, they need some area that people can go freely. Okay, dia punya path tu is not one by one. Okay, so they could go, people keep looking, because when you go to that souvenir shop, you will not see others, you will keep seeing dia punya materials kan. So then they have to provide that punya area lah. But if you that convenience store doesn't have to provide that. Okay, right? Because it's the normal aisle tu is okay, but in that specialized punya store tu, they need to give a more spacious punya aisle tu. Okay, because it has function. When you go to the souvenir shop, we will keep looking the product without looking to others. Okay, so they need to give more. Okay, area for people to work. Faham tak? You understand?